Hello. So, this is Knight the Coward. I have an apology to make to some authors. Now, while I was sick a couple of years ago, I started making some recordings, and this is also an apology to anyone who I've been talking with in the last couple of months about how I was going to do some more recordings. I've wanted to get back on recording some of those books, and I've been getting better bit by bit, and the last year has been a lot better, but um, I didn't realize while I was sick, my brain wasn't working very well. And while I would list credits to people and things like that, copyright did not occur to my mind at all for making a recording of somebody's book. And I only recorded a few chapters of 3 different series, and you could look at it as sort of like a preview of something. Um, and an encouragement for people to go and read and enjoy the same authors that I do. But ultimately, recording somebody's book is stealing their content without permission, and I am so sorry, first of all, to the authors. If I had done, say, a review video while I was sick, just talking about how much comfort it was giving me and the aspects of the books that I loved so much, both as a child and as an adult, that would be very different. And I could read, say, excerpts of their work to illustrate their style and the particular pros and cons of their artistic talent and the merit of their words. But what I did is I was just really sick, and on days that I felt better, I was just live streaming just to do something, some readings of books, because it did give me something to kind of try to do when I had the energy. So that's my apology to the authors. The videos were never monetized. I did have brain for that. Not that the goal was never to make money or anything like that. Part of it was socializing was difficult, so I was able to, say, make some recordings that maybe my niece and nephew, at the time I now have 2 nieces and 2 nephews, but at the time I just had one of each, maybe they could listen to, because I wasn't able to visit as frequently, and we do love sharing stories with them, and part of it was also just to kind of connect with people who also enjoyed the same stories I do, and to appreciate them, and also kind of to rework escapism, because as a child I would read and read and read and read and read. And while that's a good thing, methods of escapism can be a negative thing too. So it was kind of a way to turn it into the good form of escapism, where instead of being escapism, it's pure enjoyment. So the second apology is to everyone who's commented and followed my channel. I know 36 followers isn't a lot. To me, it feels like a lot, because, I mean, I, we kind of get an idea for numbers in our head, but to actually visualize and understand numbers, 36 people is a number I can understand. That's a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for your comments and your encouragement to continue reading. Both when I was sick and more this last year, I was able to start working again, and I wanted to do more streaming, both like games and books. I love reading the books, and I wanted to reignite that aspect of my life in a good way. I won't be continuing those series. I didn't have permission from the authors. I don't see a way to gain permission as of now, so I've removed the videos from public view, and I'm just so sorry I won't be able to keep my promise to continue. I will continue to do some videos, and in fact, for today, I'm going to try to keep sort of a half promise. I'm not going to continue reading Elric today. Oh, and that's the other thing. Everyone, please go read Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné. It's some great classic fantasy, fiction, and the great thing about the Elric series is that he really turned a lot of cliches kind of on their heads in different ways, and you'll enjoy it a great deal. If you like deep fantasy, go check it out. One of the other authors I read from is John Bellairs. I started reading from A House with a Clock in Its Walls. This was before the movie even came out. I didn't even know there was a movie coming out, and when it came out, it was so funny because I got a lot of people messaging me, or I had a few people messaging me really appreciating it. They were probably encouraged to read it in school, and having an English recording of it helped some of them with how some of those words were pronounced or things like that. And well, again, I would love to read that series. It's one of my favorite series. I'll have to, if I ever did recordings, it would have to be just for my niece and nephew for like personal use for them. The third book that I was starting to read was Interstellar Pig, which is by William. One second, William. Interstellar Pig. Sorry, William Slater. I am so sorry, William Slater. I listed you in the apology as well. William, I'm very sorry to you, John, and Michael. I never intended to try to steal your work. I read a few chapters of each of your books. Those videos have been taken down and removed. People go check out Interstellar Pig as well. It's a nice, fun sci-fi book that I genuinely, desperately would love to play a version of the board game that the book kind of centers around, and it's very entertaining. So, nerd culture, go check it out. Now, okay, so for today, this is me trying to make up for my broken promise and for literally stealing people's work. I have a book, and this book is in public domain now. This is Social Etiquette, or Manners and Customs of Polite Society by Maud C. Cooke. It was first published in 1896, and here's my copy. It's very, very, very beaten up, but the phrasing in it is lovely. There are some lithographs. Oh yes, it is embellished with superb phototype engravings, such as, oh yeah, check out this presented to page instead of, so yeah. It's very, very pretty in some ways, and there's this lovely, like, here we are, the opening page of Social Etiquette. Oh, good morning, a fine lady in her gown. Good morning. It's just beautiful. I've listed a link to it. It's available in public domain on the Gutenberg website, and I've got that listed in the description. I'm reading this. I'm going to read the excerpt on, it's from the letter writing section on apologies, which I think will make for some appropriate content. So anyway, here we go. Social etiquette, or manners and customs of polite society, containing rules of etiquette for all occasions, including calls, invitations, parties, weddings, receptions, dinners, and teas, etiquette of the street, public places, etc., etc., forming a complete guide to self-culture, the art of dressing well, conversation, courtship, etiquette for children, letter writing, artistic home and interior decorations, etc. By Maud C. Cooke, the well-known and popular author, embellished with superb phototype engraving. It was published by Monroe Book Company, Chicago, Illinois. Also entered according to Act of Congress in the year 1896 by J.R. Jones. Ooh, maybe I should read the preface as well, just because it's very fun. Okay, so here we go. Preface. There is much truth and force in the old saying that manners make the man. All persons should know how to appear to the best advantage in polite society. This very attractive volume furnishes rules of etiquette for all occasions, and is a complete guide for daily use in all matters pertaining to social intercourse. The first department treats of introductions and salutations. The rules given under this head are those constantly observed in the best society. The same is equally true of all the instructions throughout the book, which is the most complete work on this subject ever issued. The next department treats of the very important art of conversation. It has been said with truth that a good talker is always a social success. The reader here taught how to converse agreeably and with ease. To be a bright, witty, interesting talker is a most charming accomplishment. This volume is a help in this respect, the value of which cannot be overestimated. Visiting cards and customs are next treated, and all the perplexing questions which they occasion are fully answered. With this very comprehensive volume at hand, no person will be guilty of blunders and humiliating mistakes. Invitations, formal and informal, acceptances and regrets form another topic. The work furnishes full information and is authority upon all matters of social etiquette. All young persons, and some older ones, are deeply interested in the etiquette of courtship and marriage, weddings and wedding anniversaries. These subjects are treated in a manner at once practical and instructive. The usages of the best society in giving parties, dinners, teas, receptions, breakfasts, luncheons, etc., are minutely described. Also, home etiquette and etiquette for children, like me. With this volume in the home, parents can easily teach the young polite and winning manners. Miscellaneous entertainments form a department that is bright and sparkling. The dark side of life is not overlooked. Etiquette of funerals forming a separate topic. How the young lady should come out is stated in full, with invaluable instructions to her parents and herself. Oh, we are gonna talk about this. Okay, next video. How the young lady should come out. I think that's very applicable today. See, this book is still priceless. Over a century old. Perfect. Then we come to etiquette of public places, followed by that of walking, riding, boating, driving, etc. Etiquette for bicycle riders receives full attention. Here are hints for travelers, for hostess and guest, general etiquette and delsarte discipline, musicales, soirees, lawn parties, etc. Washington etiquette is described, and all the proper titles for professional and public men are given. The art of dress receives exhaustive treatment, and the rules to be observed by those who would dress tastefully are very complete. Let's see. Sorry. They who are well dressed have already made a favorable impression upon others. Suggestions and rules upon this subject are important to all who would shine in social life. Letter writing makes constant demands upon nearly all persons, yet its difficulties are perplexing. Here are plain directions upon this subject, which should be studied and followed by all who would succeed in the great art of elegant correspondence. It is essential often to have the best forms for letters, happily expressed, choice in the use of words, and easy and correct in grammatical construction. Artistic home decorations are fully treated, showing how to have a pretty, tasteful, and inviting home at least expense. This subject is receiving great attention everywhere, and this delightful volume should be in every household in the land, as it furnishes just the information needed. Fireplaces and windows, stairways, woodwork, doors, lighting, decorating, furniture, and paintings are among the topics treated in this part of the volume. In short, this work is a treasury of rules and information on every subject of social etiquette, self-culture, and home life. An entirely new and very important feature is the beautiful phototype engravings in rich colors. The publishers consider themselves fortunate in being able to present these new and admirable embellishments, which have been pronounced gems of art. Yep. So, I'll give you, here, let's see. Let's show you one of these lovely, lovely embellishments. These, here we go. My apologies. As you can see, it's very lovely. The summer outing, a morning call. There we go. Alright, now I will skip ahead to the relevant matter at hand. Now, I wrote a note of apology already. No, I probably should have read this first, but we'll see how I did after we read this. So we have some forms for letters, and they give us examples of notes with them. So under forms for letters on page 460, notes of apology are a frequent necessity. They should be written with promptness, evince a repentant spirit, and should be acknowledged pleasantly and forgivingly. Always remember in such a note to explain the cause rendering the apology necessary. For instance, an unfulfilled engagement might be apologized for thus: Dear Miss Mason, I cannot sufficiently regret that I was unfortunately prevented from keeping my engagement to drive with you on Wednesday. An important telegram received but a moment before the time set for our outing left me but a brief 5 minutes to catch the first train for Remington, where affairs permitting no delay awaited my attention. Dare I hope that I have your pardon for so great a seeming negligence. Very respectfully yours, John H. Curran. This note being written in the first person will be replied to in the same manner by the recipient, something like Mr. Curran, or Dear Mr. Curran, according to the degree of familiarity. I accept your apology as quite sufficient, and beg that you will give yourself no further uneasiness over so unavoidable an occurrence. I am, sincerely, Gertrude Mason. Well, that's a little different. I hope that in my apology you can all see that I am very sorry for what I did, and it was without thinking. It won't be done again, and I have done everything I can to make amends and to also remove the content. If I ever do in the future gain permission of any authors, I will of course display such permission and be very clear with such permissions. I do feel very strongly that all artists and writers, everyone should be paid for their work, everyone should be acknowledged. Unless something is put in the public domain, it is somebody's property. And while I didn't provide full recordings of their work, I did not wish to continue because the intention was absolutely to record the full books for my niece and nephew and anyone else who was enjoying them, because it was wonderful to share the love that we all have for the same books, and I hope we can still do that in the future. I'm just going to be very careful to only pull from the public domain, which, by the way, laws have changed somewhat, and so for certain works written after a specific year, the copyright is active for the life of the owner plus 70 years beyond, and so I am a little limited in things, but we will probably have some classic literature, things like that. Anyway, I hope your evening is lovely. This isn't much of a bedtime story on social etiquette. It doesn't really... Oh, you know what? I do have one other portion we could cover. Conversational sins. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I should read this in bits. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for tonight because just truly I'm very sorry, and I'm sorry that I can't keep my promise to continue to record the books. I was very excited too because I've made some efforts to improve the audio quality. And That's just not going to be possible at this moment. In the future, I will be looking at some more gameplay and possibly some tutorials on some different things I do, part of maybe my work, which I do electrical repair, which is great. If I learn how to do some cool little neat things, hopefully I'll share that with everyone. And in the meantime, good night. Thank you.